Today I'm breaking down Calgary's November market snapshot, and the big theme this month is clear. Overall, we're sitting in buyer territory. Citywide, we saw 1553 sales, which is down 13% from last year. New listings dipped slightly to 2251, and inventory climbed to 5x581 homes, which is up 28% year over year. The benchmark price across all property types is $559,000, down 5%. Months of supply is now at 3.59, which is well into buyer favorable territory. But the story shifts when you zoom into each segment and each area of the city. Let's break it down. Detached homes have a benchmark price of $733,000, down 2% year over year. Months of supply sits at 2.97, which is basically balanced but leaning toward buyers. The strongest area is the Northwest, with only 2.3 months of supply, which actually leans toward sellers. The weakest is the Northeast at 421 months, firmly in buyer territory. Semi-detached homes hold a benchmark of $671,700, which is basically flat year over year, down only 0.5%. Months of supply is 3.29, leaning toward buyers. The best conditions are in the city center at 2.78 months. The Northeast again shows the softest conditions with 5.8 months of supply. Row and townhomes sit at a benchmark of $424,400, down 6% from last year. Supply is at 3.51 months. Extra inventory is pushing prices down. The strongest area is the Northwest with 2.19 months of supply. The softest is the Northeast at 6.75 months. Apartments are the most buyer-favorable segment. The benchmark is $309,300, down 7%. Months of supply is 550, which is a strong buyer's market. The West Side has the best conditions at 3.92 months, while the Southeast is the softest at 7.35 months. So overall, every segment is performing differently, and every area of the city is telling its own story. Most property types still have pockets that lean balanced or even seller-friendly, but the apartment market is clearly tilted toward buyers. Now let's talk about what this means for sellers. We're seeing more inventory and fewer sales than last year. That means more competition. So your strategy matters. First, price it right from day one. Homes are sitting longer. Second, presentation matters. Good photos, staging, video, and 3D tours make a real difference. Third, be realistic. The average sale-to-list ratio is 97.4%, so most homes are selling a bit below asking. Fourth, don't underestimate winter buyers. People shopping now are motivated. Waiting until spring could mean even more competition. And finally, remember that spring may not give sellers the advantage they expect. More listings on top of already elevated inventory can make it harder to stand out. Detached homes are close to balanced, but every category today still leans toward buyers. Sellers who price well, show well, and act early will put themselves in the strongest position. Now for buyers. This is the most favorable environment we've seen in a while, especially for apartments and townhomes. You have more selection, less competition from other buyers, more negotiating power, and the time to be choosy. Apartments and townhomes offer the biggest opportunities right now with meaningful price drops from peak levels. Looking ahead to early 2026, we're seeing the usual winter cooling, but the numbers suggest buyer-friendly conditions will continue into the new year. For sellers, inventory could rise even more in Q1 2026. If sales don't keep pace, months of supply will climb again. That means more competition and continued pressure on pricing, especially for apartments and townhomes. The motivated buyers shopping now may be your best window before spring brings a wave of new listings. For buyers, your leverage could strengthen in early 2026. More inventory and slower absorption often lead to better negotiating conditions. Rates or economic shifts could change things, but right now, the trend favors buyers. There are a few wild cards. Interest rates, migration, economic conditions, and the usual spring behavior. But based on today's numbers, the market clearly leans toward buyers. The bottom line is simple. Sellers who price sharp and show well can still get great results. Buyers who are ready to move have more choice and more leverage than they've had in a long time.